before we do anything, I just thought of this.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's helpful.
That was pretty good.
Yes,
Ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
I can't even think really how to intro this right, but I guess welcome to A Day in the Field. We're here on the precipice of another September, another elk season, and we just wanted to take a second and talk about how it all unfolded, what we learned from the first backcountry trip, and then how we're gonna try and fix what we found were problems as we move forward. And so obviously, Will is here with me as probably the only person in my life that I can just say, hey, you wanna? And he says, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah,
let's go.
You can go watch that still, right? If you haven't watched that video.
Oh, it's sick. It'll be right here or right over there. I'll put a card in it. So go watch that video and then come back and watch this one. If you're planning on going elk hunting this year for the first time, this is probably a good video because maybe you can just kind of like skip some of the issues that we had on our first one.
Just some of them.
Just some of them. There's still gonna be a lot of learning for everybody. So going all the way back.
All the way.
All the way back.
Let's go.
Do you remember what you were thinking when I asked you to do this? We were at lunch and I was like, hey, I drew this tag. I don't think this is a tag I can film on my own because I do a lot of self-filming on this channel. Would you be willing to come? My wife gets upset because I don't tell her everything that's entailed in some of the adventures that we do, but I tried to lay it out very truthfully. I didn't try and hide anything. Do you remember what you were thinking when
I think I was mostly worried about the hunting. Like and I go back thinking about it because like you presented it as like we're gonna like backpack in and like we're gonna camp and then we're also gonna hunt this very large animal. And like being from Southern California in like a city, like I haven't really ever been around anything in a hunting nature outside of like fishing, which is not hunting. But I think so. I was like, oh yeah, backpacking, hiking, camping. I'm outdoorsy. Like I can do all those things. I'm like fine. And the only thing I'm nervous about was like the hunting. And then not only just straight up hunting, because we went turkey hunting. Mm-hmm. Did we go turkey hunting before? Or
yeah,
after?
We went turkey hunting before.
Before we had that lunch? Because you needed to make sure I was like, okay in general. I remember being nervous about that big a game of animal. And then not just that, but like, and this is all going to come up because I am also concerned about it still, is bringing said animal down the mountain in like an efficient, proper way. But after obviously what we've done in the video, you can see I have a better grasp for the outdoors part, which again, I feel like incredibly comfortable with outside of being sick or like having a cold.
Well, yeah,
I was.
Which you were sick on that. And that's something that we don't necessarily touch on, but like you were a trooper.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was rough.
That first day and a half, like I was really worried about you.
Yeah. It was rough. I mean, I just worked it out. But yeah, so I think most concerning is the actual hunting aspect of it from like, and like we can talk about this more at some point on the hunt, but like a morality thing. Like I've never been around it. I want to be around it. I'm a meat eater. I think it's important to like understand it and be around it and respect it, which is why I love doing stuff with you, is like that whole learning aspect of it. So I'm just concerned about the physical act of it and how I will feel.
Do you think you'll be okay with the whole like death side of things?
And I got to go back and because we were thinking about doing this video and my journal from last year, because I've been journaling for a year now and this was in it. And I think I took it with me on the hunt.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, I want to like reflect on that and go back and read that. And I remember leaving like, okay, I didn't have to deal. I didn't have to get emotional. Like I think I'll be okay with the death. Like I want to be around that. I want to experience that, especially with you and the way you're doing it and all the work that we put into it. I mean, we'll both be emotional.
Oh yeah.
Like, how do you? Aren't you like after not getting one?
I will come unglued.
Yeah, it's great.
I was emotional there, just being there in the act of doing it.
Yeah, like tracking. And
just calling and hearing everything and just being in the midst of them. And there was one night, there was an absolute rut fest going on in the middle of the night. We couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Because they were 200-300 yards away from our tent, just going crazy, and just like being in that to me made me emotional because I've dreamed of doing this since I was a little kid. So yeah, when we're actually successful at this, I will absolutely come unglued.
Yeah,
I will lose it. Oh, do you regret saying yes after being
The first time or the second time?
for the first time? Actually, this
Second time
either.
second time TBD, but only because I'm just so busy. The first time, no, I do have regrets about the way we did some things that I'm sure we'll get into.
That's some of the next stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think I did, but I was worried about getting an elk. And then when we decided to like start home, I was relieved, but I was also like bummed. I don't know. It was like a weird mix.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you get to the truck and you're relieved, and like you start driving back, and the only thing you want to do is turn around and go right back up.
Yeah.
We mentioned this a little bit. Like, you come from the backpacking world and the camping world. I come from the hunting world. What do you think I got wrong as a backpacker?
As a backpacker, I think we took too much stuff.
Yeah.
Our food was not backpacking
Friendly.
efficient.
Yeah.
Friendly. I don't know as if you had the right backpack for what we were doing. Taking the time to measure stuff. All the things that we've sort of already like talked about that we're like getting better at, but there was some gear discrepancies, maybe more on your end, that you like the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Maybe your boots.
I've literally in bold letters here. I've got
all the
boots,
things.
food, like all of these things where I
Boots,
feel like
food,
we
and backpack.
very much got wrong. And then my sleeping bag, literally, we got home and it went in the trash can. Like, I literally, like, it was one of those where it's like, I have a sleeping bag, it'll be fine. It wasn't.
What about your
was
sleeping
awful.
pad? Did you like that? I feel like you had a small issue with that.
I did have a small issue in it, but I think it's just one of those things where it's like you have to like get used to it.
Yeah.
Because by like day 3, I don't feel like I had that much problem falling asleep. As far as like things that I've upgraded through this past year, being pretty sure that we were going back, that wasn't high on the list.
Right. I think gear-wise and equipment-wise, if we had the money, man, it's so funny because like, what do you spend money on?
For folks watching this that are like getting ready to do their first, I think that's the biggest stigma that you need to get over. It's just go. Understand that there's gonna be things that are rough. Just be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. You're not gonna truly understand what it takes until you do it once. Totally. So you just have to be ready to kind of have things suck.
Yeah.
And then just the amount of knowledge that you get after the first, just to have a framework of what will happen, to me, eases my mind 1,000-fold.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the equipment and the food that we've learned about, but it's like we know where we're going.
Yeah.
We know to calibrate our GPS a little bit better. We know how long it's going to take us to drive. Like, all the mental stuff that we've learned is going to make this experience, I think, better. Even again, if we don't get an elk,
it's still going to be...
I don't want to put that out there, but like, that's still going to be great.
We're mentally in a better state because we were so unprepared.
Yeah.
But we didn't know we were so unprepared.
Yeah.
And now we know that we're at least better prepared.
And I think that's important, not just in the sense of us having a good time and like enjoying it, if there's even something more that sucks. Like, what if we get out there and a thunderstorm comes in?
Yeah.
Or like we get out there and there's a ton of people out there. We never hear an elk. Like, you know, we run across something even more terrible. Like, we're even more prepared, and we have to be ready and willing openly to know that that's going to happen. And I think when you're starting out, you just have to get over it. You just have to go.
As far as gear issues that you found personally from last year.
See, I started thinking about that. I mean, the tent was something I wish was a little bit lighter, but I think we're going to end up taking the same tent.
We probably will.
Because I'm not going to buy another tent. I got to say, me, gear-wise, I was like pretty fine.
Yeah,
like, I think the only big issue that I had was that first night that we camped out, my sleeping bag hadn't been taken out of its little compression bag to fluff up, and it was freezing. That I'll have fixed, and it's been out. I actually took it out like 2 weeks ago to like let it fluff, and I won't compress it until we're like actively going, or I need to pack up my backpack. I think that a better headlamp would be nice. I got because of my other camping stuff, I have a rounder, bigger jet boil.
And that's going to be nice.
Which will be helpful because we're going to do food differently. I think I'm only going to take one pair of pants. I think I may have taken 2.
Absolutely.
I think I'm cutting down on clothes a little.
I feel like I am too.
A little, in a smarter way.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that we're doing is like, it's like gear for camping, gear for like eating while you're camping, gear for hunting. And then on top of that, you're filming something. You're making a movie.
You got all these extra batteries, all these extra like
Lenses.
blocks and lenses and filming.
backpacking.
If you're not filming, if you're just hunting and backpacking, you're already way ahead of the game from us.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. Just filming is a lot of stuff.
So gear-wise, what about you? I mean, like, you're saying you had some older gear, you weren't prepared.
I did.
You're already breaking in your new boots.
Breaking in my new boots. We kind of cut our hunt a couple days short, and I feel like that was the reason, is because
yours were leaking halfway in, right?
They weren't waterproof, even though they said they were. They were leaking. I mean, I did kind of fall in the lake on one, but still. My pants dried, my socks dried, my boot wouldn't.
I couldn't find anything that would burn.
I'm not saying I'm a super duper outdoorsman, but like I'm never worried about starting a fire until
you can't,
because everything's so wet because it's rained for a day and a half.
Like we just couldn't get anything.
And I think that's one of the things we do different is when we get to our campsite, we need to stash wood. I didn't have camp shoes. I'm gonna fix that because that was kind of miserable.
Did I?
You did. You took some slides, and I didn't have anything, so it was constantly on and off with boots. And so when they did get wet and we were trying to dry them, I just kind of had to.
Right. You were just walking around.
I was just kind of walking around. And then I've fixed my sleep system. I've got a new idea of how we're gonna do that. So, and like I said, new boots, sleep system. Oh, all the lighters. All the lighters to go along with the fire starter.
I think all I had was that little tiny lighter.
We had, I think between us, we had 3, and 2 of them were like the Bic minis.
Yeah.
And just like they got wet, and then it was just like, eventually it just ran out.
Yeah.
But now I've got literally like a Ziploc bag of like 4 and a Zippo. And so between that and having some real fire starter and getting there and making sure there's dry wood that we've stashed.
Dry wood, I think stashing that, and like you had that tarp. Are you gonna bring a tarp?
Heck yeah, that's one of the big things I want to talk about because you mocked me.
I did.
Mocked me.
I'm still trying to remember like why did we? Yeah.
Mocked me for bringing those tarps. You're like, this is pointless. There's no reason you need to bring this. You should have left these in the truck. You just.
That sounds a little.
You gave it to me on these tarps, and then the next thing you know, it rains for a day and a half, and you want to know what's great to have? The tarp. And the tarp was worth its weight in gold. So sure enough, we've got tarps coming with us again.
I think it was helpful too that I think when it started light raining, you had the tarp over our backpacks outside of our tent. I think we'll have time to take time to like set it up well. Have like a mess area, have like maybe not be so close to the water.
We did. We set up right next to the lake, and it was beautiful and it was great and it worked. But then as it started to rain, and this is also a fun thing with as we come from very different places.
Oh yeah, I love thinking about that.
Where we were sitting is a flat spot next to the Alpine Lake, and then it goes up a little shelf. My main worry was flooding.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm used to having to deal with is water coming up.
Yeah.
He's used to dealing with water coming down and mudslides, and that's what he was worried about. And so it was just kind of funny that we were both worried about different things, and probably we should have been worried about both of them.
We were worried about both, and I think in the future we just need to go a little bit up,
like right at the top of that ridge.
Yeah.
I have thought about this. We built a little fire pit.
Oh, you can use the same one?
I wonder if it's still there, or if something's like knocked it over.
I love that.
I would love to see if it was still there.
That's cool.
With the hunting, like what we got right to me for the first trip on a DIY thing, like we totally succeeded.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that go on their first hunt, they never hear a bugle, they never see an elk, they never get into them. By the time we turned to go up the canyon, like we were in elk the entire time.
I feel like we heard 3 different elks, you feel like?
We've heard probably 4 to 5 different bulls.
Right.
And then we had that group of cows come in, and that's something I feel like we got wrong, is like I didn't pay enough attention because I heard a rock roll
while we were hiking.
And we stopped and were resting right there, and I heard a rock roll, and I was like, whatever. And then I heard another like rock roll or twig snap or something, and that's when I was like, hey, get up. Yeah. So if I would have paid attention on the first one,
That was the closest we got.
We could have gotten up a little farther, and maybe there was a bull in that bunch, and we just never knew because we only saw the front 3 cows.
Right, but that was also like on our second day of like.
Yeah, we were just. I felt like there was a lot of stuff. Like I feel like I absolutely kind of got lost in the moment of just like being a part of it, and I got timid because I was just like so overwhelmed by the moment of actually being in the mix. So like I was very timid with my calling. I definitely should have been more aggressive.
Oh really? That's interesting.
Absolutely, I should have been more aggressive. We should have been raking trees and making more noise. Listening back to the footage, especially when we got caught at the boulder field, that bull was pumped.
Yeah.
Like he was absolutely in an aggressive mode. There's a couple bugles that he did that sounded more like the challenge bugles that they talk about. And we should have been more aggressive with the calling.
That's a good
but
question.
I got scared. Like that's on me.
But do you feel like, does that footage and seeing what we've done, like when you reviewing it, you feel like that's helped you even more? Like obviously experiencing it, but
obviously yes.
It's like looking back at playback, looking at the game footage.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. It's like you're watching yourself play, and you're like, oh well, I messed that up. Oh, I messed that up.
Yeah.
That's bothered me for months at this point.
Do you have a plan with that boulder field?
Yes.
Okay.
Lots and lots of time looking at the maps.
Okay.
I feel like I've got a better plan with that now.
That's good.
Something that we got some comments about on the video.
Yeah, let's go.
Somebody was like, I cannot believe that you took that fishing pole all the way up there at the start of the video. And then I saw what happened. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I guess it was worth it.
That was honestly one of my favorite things. I mean, I hope we can do that again.
Absolutely. And I feel like we need to probably spend more time doing it because that's really fun. Sure. And I want to get you. I want to get you on it.
Yeah, I probably need to get
you. Yeah, we'll get you a fishing license before we go, but that's something we can just buy online. You know, as far as like gear for that, it's just like a little 5 or 6 weight. I would have liked to have gone down to a 3 or 4 weight fly rod. Honestly, there's a thing called a Tenkara rod.
So the Japanese.
Yeah,
the simple one.
The simple one. That would honestly, for the backpacking aspect of this, if we really wanted to pare down every bit of weight we could, take a Tenkara rod. And we're just using like
basic flies. Like,
basic little grasshopper patterns.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel like that
for 5 minutes.
Very few people take the time to get up there. So when, people do fish, it's like it doesn't get a lot of pressure. So it's on. It's great. Yeah. And, the main reason we camped where we did wasn't because of the fishing. It was, I just wanted us to have access to a very stable water source.
Yeah, and the water was one thing I was.
And so that was the reason of that. And then honestly, getting there, it's like there's water everywhere. But
yeah. I'm like thinking of stuff as we're talking of like all this list of things I need to do. It's like crazy.
Well, and it's getting down to it. So if there's anything we need to order, like
we gotta do it today.
We got to do it like now.
I mean, how do you feel from an editing standpoint or from like a hunting video aspect? Do you feel like we had too much footage? We didn't have enough?
I mean, I live
GoPro stuff.
I live by the rule of the minute you think you have enough, keep going because you're always going to need more. I wish we could have gotten more action, but that's another thing that people have talked about in the comments is like, I mentioned that in the video. I wonder how many people will legitimately care about this with us not, being too far in them.
I feel weird because, I don't know if, the viewers really care if there's not a whole lot of action and stuff.
And everybody, for the most part, has been super, super supportive. It's the most viewed video on the channel.
That's great.
35K in views and counting, which for a small channel like us is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I wish I could have given, the people more, obviously, but you gotta do it to learn.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how people should watch that video is watching us learn. And, looking back, it's just like, I've just got this childish grin on my face most of the time because it's just like, every time I elk bugles, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. The original goal of this was just to get in elk.
Yeah.
Hear them, be in the mix. As long as see something and hear something, it's a win.
Totally.
But then day 2 comes around and you're in them, and you're not just in them, like you're calling, they're answering.
Yeah,
you're
like legit.
We are legit in the mix. We are hunting this herd. We are dogging this herd. And all of a sudden, it's just like, you just kind of have to push your expectations further. Mm-hmm. And so as you continue to push your expectations further, it's like, all right, well, I got to get him to answer to a cow call. All right, well, I did that. I got to get him to answer to a bugle. All right, I did that. I was like, I got to get him like super fired up, where it's like he's bugling 2 or 3 times, at every one of my calls.
Right.
I was like, you keep pushing, and the next thing is like, he's got to come in. And so every time you push those expectations, the disappointment's the same. It's not like, well, or at least for me anyway, I can't just be like, oh, well, I made it to step 4. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm just like, why couldn't I get step 5?
Yeah. But that's, in that sense, your goalpost is always moving.
Yeah. And
it's like, we hit it. We hit the goalpost. We did. Achieved it. And then we just keep going on the next one.
As far as like something for, a wrap up for the viewers, I think the biggest thing to take away is 1, go. 2, understand that you're going to get a lot of things wrong. Fix them later, but you have to go, and you have to know what sucks to fix it.
Yeah.
You can watch all the videos you want, and trust me, I've seen them all. Until you go and live it, it's not gonna make sense. Completely make sense. You might think it does, but it's not gonna completely make sense. And make sure that your expectations are set at a healthy level. There's a lot of people that go out for the first time and they don't see anything.
Yeah.
We got super lucky.
Yeah, it just feels like all that is like, that being said, and like just going and experiencing is like, you take into the physicality, the working out, the research, the planning, the like going with friends, but then also like you just still gotta go. And it's like focusing on, the destination. We're out there to hunt an animal and get it and bring it back. But also, like, as cheesy as it sounds, it's about the journey.
It is.
And you're gonna get to the destination, or you're not gonna get to the destination, or like, what is your definition of destination? It may not matter. It's like, be present and be there for the journey, and that's what it's all about, is like being out there.
Well, hopefully we've made sense through all this rambling. Thanks for coming out, Will.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
I
hanging.
got a lot to do, and where can we find all your, like, we've got the channel and you're on Instagram, right?
Got the channel, obviously you're here, so just hit the subscribe button wherever you may find it.
It helps the algorithm.
It helps the algorithm, hit the like button. I've tried some like cheesy things with that. I've tried like squeeze the trigger on the like button and the subscribe button, since it's a hunting-based channel. I feel real weird about that. It doesn't feel good when I say that.
Just click the subscribe button.
Just click subscribe, just click like. It does help push the video to other people that it may help. Hopefully it's helped you. Hopefully you've made sense out of it. Adventure Will.
Oh yeah, Adventure_William.
Adventure_William on Instagram.
Outdoor,
Instagram, I am at Goose in the Field. Thank you guys so much, and good luck on your first DIY elk hunt this year, wherever it is you may be.
You don't have like a catchphrase or something?
No.
Spend a day in the field.
Oh my
We need a
god.
catchphrase.
Oh my god.